T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Don't mess with the wrong melon farmers. Thug life. And here we go.
I prayed that he would burn in hell, but in my heart, hell.
Then I will avenge his death.
Hello, Sippy. Are you
Don't you
The Force will be with you. Always.
Wish I had you all alone, just the two of us.
On Halloween 1963 in Haddonfield, Illinois, 6-year-old Michael Myers murdered his own sister in cold blood. But it was 15 years later, on Halloween 1978, that the legend, the Myers murders, was born. Having escaped protective custody, Laurie Strode as the sole survivor.
What's the boogeyman? What's the room where that stupid little kid lives? I totally believe in the boogeyman. I wish I had you all.
How you doing?
Good, how are you? Hey, Grandma.
I am not your grandma.
Ellie! What the fuck?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Movies and Beyond on a special Friday night edition. Once again, I am Michael, and today we're going to finish up our Sunday stream. With me, as always, is Mad Matt from Mad Matt's Mask. What is up, my man? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Michael. I'm doing great, and I just I'm not gonna knock him over this evening. Mark my words. I am not gonna knock him over. But I was talking to you a little bit backstage before we went on, and man, it must be something about you guys, the channel, and talking horror, because I got off work about 4:30 or so, and I yawned my entire way home. I could have got here and just crashed. But then I started thinking about the show and Halloween 2 and getting to chat with all you guys, and I got a second win, man. I feel good. I think it's pretty cool, that we're doing this on a Friday, little extra, and I love it, man. I feel great, Michael.
Well, it's great, man. We're doing this on a Friday, and then we have tomorrow off, and then we have our Sunday show. So it's like, it is definitely a weekend full of Movies and Beyond. Released a video today talking about The Strangers. If you guys haven't checked that out, Bloody Disgusting released an article showing the first images of the new Strangers trilogy. I went into depth on that and some of the things they said.
I gotta check that out, Michael.
Yeah,
I'm a Stranger
it's definitely me too. Some concerns I have with it, but I mentioned those in the video already. But I'm gonna get to the chat. But before I do that, I want to give a shout out to my Patreon people. All right, let's see who we have in the chat today. Lydia's in the house, one of my mods, saying howdy ho, officers. What is up, Lydia?
Hello, Lydia. Hello.
Another one of my mods, Val from Val's Views, is in the house. The General is here, and she always gets a salute from Movies and Beyond. And Val is reminding us, welcome to the channel. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you already haven't, and share this video on social media. Hit that bell icon to get notifications of new videos and upcoming live streams. I couldn't have said that any Val. Let me go ahead and give that to you right there. Well said, well said. And James has entered the chat. The Shape's in the chat saying, happy Friday, everyone. I hope everyone had a great day. What is up, James? What is up, my man?
James, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow at the shop as well. Always a good time there with you, my friend. Always a good time.
Teresa Stevens, a.k.a. Mad Mom, is in the chat saying, happy Friday, all. Happy Friday, Teresa. How you doing?
Hello. Hello, mother.
Byron Weaver's in the chat saying, hey, guys. What's up, Byron? I got a chance to talk to Byron on Instagram a little bit earlier this week and then a little bit today. He's got a few ideas for a new Halloween sequel. It's pretty cool. I like reading about it. What's up, Byron?
That's always fun to go down that route. Yeah, welcome, Byron.
The Shape is saying, let the show begin. And I love seeing these because it's almost become the unofficial theme of the channel. I love seeing the thug lives that always pop up. For sure. Dino's in the chat saying, I'm a simple man. I see Movies and Beyond notification. I click it. That's what I'm talking about, Dino. What is up, my man?
Good to see you, Dino.
Bye-bye Polar is in the chat. Another one of my mods saying, yo, everyone. What is up, Polar? What is going on?
Always great to see you on here, Polar.
Let's see. Wayne Turner saying, hi, all. It's 10:06 a.m. here in Sydney, Australia. Sadly, I have to work today and can only stay for a bit. If you want to ride the white horse.
Hey man, we get it. We appreciate any time we can get out of you. That's awesome.
Yeah, still looking for my white horse.
I'm just glad it's not 10 a.m. here.
Still looking for my vision of where I'm supposed to be. All right. Let's see. We got my Chunky Jordy is in the chat saying, hi, everyone. What's going on? How you doing today?
Welcome, buddy. Welcome.
Michael Evans is in the chat as well saying, I remember being so deflated in 2009 when I realized that the first 25 minutes was a dream. I used to hate this one. Over the years, it's grown on me. I appreciate its originality. Yeah,
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. I like that.
Wayne Turner is saying, almost time for Michael to talk about Michael. That is true, my man.
It is.
That is true. Byron's asking a good question. How would you guys fix Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? Byron, let's save that for a little later. Let's save that for a little later in the stream. But yeah, man,
question.
It is a very good question, for sure, and something I'd kind of be eager to talk about, like what we would have done differently. I mean, but who are we? But two assholes with a microphone. Some headphones on.
That almost needs to be its own show, like for real.
What could you do differently? Yeah,
you start going down that road. It's something I've actually never thought about, but it intrigues the hell out of me. I'll tell you what pops. I won't go on, but what pops into mind first is that the dream sequence would not be a dream sequence, and that's going to kick off the movie. But that's as far as I've gotten. But yeah, man, that's an interesting route to take.
Yeah. Val is saying, I'm so excited for I Like Scary's fan film. I am too, and I think Brandon's going to do great stuff with that over there. I can't wait to see the finished product for sure.
You and Brandon, man, you're putting a lot of work into it too, buddy.
Well, I'm helping. You know what I mean? But this is definitely Brandon's vision. Of Halloween. I'm just trying to do anything I can to help him get his vision out there for sure. Yeah. James is saying the dream sequence was the best part of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Oh, hands down.
That's definitely up.
Hands down. And James, when it comes to Halloween, buddy, I don't argue with you. I don't argue with you, James. You are, 99.9% spot on. Yeah, that is a true fan of Halloween. In James the Shape. In James the Shape. Like I respect it.
Lydia has put up the link for the Halloween Lives Indiegogo campaign. If you would like to support that project, go over, check out what perks you get with which donations. There's the link to do so. Every little bit helps, guys. So any little bit that you guys can help with, if you can help. Now, don't go out of your way. If you don't have it, don't do it. But if you can spare anything and you see something over there you like, there's plenty of things to choose from for sure. And she has also put up the link to the Patreon, Movies and Beyond Patreon, just additional content over there, content that you're only going to get on Patreon, and you also get an early peek at videos before they drop. So like I was saying, I did that video with talking about The Strangers. That was out yesterday on Patreon, but it didn't come out until today. So everything's a little earlier on there, and there are definitely exclusive shows that are only on Patreon. So
yeah, I'm gonna try to check that one out tomorrow, Michael, for sure.
It's a 5-minute video. Like, it's nothing super long. It's not gonna take up your whole day, but it's definitely one that has been very engaging in the comment section. And it's something I still have to get back to all the comments that are on there. I've been running around like crazy today. But yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Strangers 2 is just such a, in my opinion, such a banger for a sequel. Sequels usually either nosedive, and I'm happy when they're halfway decent. But man, it was a banger of a sequel. So
it was, and it was so simple. You know what I mean? It was just so simple. And sometimes that's all you need.
And Strangers, in my opinion, needs to stay simple. You know, you start doing weird stuff with the strangers, and for me, it wouldn't be the strangers. You know,
unless it's strange.
Unless it's really strange, I guess. But yeah, man,
it's strange. It's okay.
Yeah, strangers needs to stay simple. But yeah, sometimes you can do amazing things with simple. You know, a friend of mine was talking to me about John, a good friend. You know, John. He was talking to me about Wrong Turn, you know, and we were talking about how good it was, and he was like, you know, movies like that have been around forever. You know, they didn't reinvent the wheel by any means. He's like, they just did that very well.
Yeah,
you know, and it kind of relate that to the strangers. You know, they didn't, you know, reinvent anything, but what they did very well and simple. So
yeah, the original Wrong Turn, I really enjoyed that. You know, it's just a sequel
slasher, man.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's nothing like, you know, wow, how do you think of this?
Yeah.
You know, Killers in the Woods. Wow, who'd have thunk? But you know, they did it well. You know,
it had its own unique stamp on it as well. You know what I mean? It wasn't just some guy out there with a knife. You know, it was, and I did enjoy the first Wrong Turn for sure, very much so. James is saying Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 is on right now, and 2 comes on next on AMC's Fear Fest.
Oh hell yeah!
It's October, man. It is
hell
October. Yeah. Matt Mom is saying, I wish I was in Sydney, Australia, Wayne. Wayne, let me tell you something. This is what I've always thought of Australia, Wayne. And every show that I see about Australia, like Discovery Channel, it's like, if there is a poisonous bug, it's always in Australia. You know what I mean? It's like the most deadly insects are always in Australia. So I have this fear, and it could be out of ignorance, don't get me wrong, that I would finally travel to Australia and be like, man, this is absolutely beautiful. And one of those bugs would just fly up and sting me in the neck, and I'd fall down the stairs coming off the plane and just be dead right there. Never get to see a kangaroo or anything like that, man. I just always felt that way. It's like anytime you watch the Discovery Channel and they're like the most deadliest, venomous thing, it's always like in Australia. And I'm just always like, man, with my luck, I swear to God, that thing's gonna just fly up and sting me in the neck and watch.
And it's never Ohio. Maybe that's why we were so comfortable. Like it's never Ohio.
And that's the thing. Like a lot of people will bash Ohio, but we really don't have much that'll kill you outside here.
No,
you know, unless you go north. I'm sure that there's if you go up north, there's probably some wildcats or something.
Or you're a complete idiot, like the guy that poured deer piss on himself and got mauled by that deer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm sorry, he had it coming, man. But yeah, did you ever see that video?
No, but it doesn't surprise me, and that's the thing. Terrible. You know what I mean? Like, dude, why? Why would you do that? Like, hey,
Michael, you get time, check it out. It is a riot, dude. I mean, the guy gets beat to hell and back, but you know, he's trying to attract deer and pours the deer piss on him, and man, he gets mauled. It's vicious.
How do you tell that story? You know what I mean? When somebody comes up like, what happened to you, man? It's like,
he
well,
can't have a poker game to this day without that coming up with his friends, you know, like
hey, you see Earl over there? You know what he did one time? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I guarantee you don't want to be that guy, but yet, you know,
like,
you have to have that guy.
Could box, but watch this video and tell me they can't. Like,
so that deer had a purpose. Like, I can't, man. I can't. Val is saying, Michael, don't cut yourself short on how much you've helped Brandon. I know it's his film, but your input has been a huge. And you know, I do my best. I do my best to help, and thank you for that, Val. I appreciate that. I need to catch up with Brandon this week. His lucky ass got to go to Halloween 45 last week, and I haven't really got to talk to him about it yet, man. But I'm definitely curious as to what he has to say about how much fun he had up there. He's put some, you know, pictures up on Instagram and stuff, but it's just like, man.
Michael, we will step foot in there. We
50, the 50th anniversary, dude. That's
we will.
5 years. So regardless, I'm making a prediction right now. If I'm still alive and nothing catastrophic happens, or you know, I'm not hurt or sick or anything,
dude,
in 5 years,
we'll bring your pill box.
Yeah, if I am half dead, roll me in there in 5 years. Like seriously.
But we are gonna go in there, man.
Yeah, dude, like so 5 years to plan. That's enough time. Like,
I'm so down with that. The 50th. Let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, I want to visit all the sites too. Like, you can go to the Myers house. You can go to Laurie Strode's house. You can go to the Nightmare on Elm Street house because that's just a block over.
Really?
Yeah, the shrubs and stuff. Rob Zombie's Halloween's house is in that neighborhood too. It's all in, the same area. So not only the event itself, but being a person, traveling, especially, from somewhere like Ohio to see that. I'm not going to make it to California a whole lot, but if I go, I want to see all those things. Like, I'd be willing to miss almost a whole day of Halloween, 50 just to travel to these places and see them and take pictures and, stand on the Myers porch and throw up the deuces for you guys and put it up on here. I think that would just be a blast.
I'm going to have to sell a kidney to fund this, man. Like,
5 years. You know what I mean?
The money you could drop there and not even bat an eye. And,
yeah. And I mean, you got to think too, right? And this is never guaranteed. But assuming that everyone is still with us from the original Halloween, with it being the 50th anniversary, you would think that Jamie Lee Curtis would be there, right? 50 years. I mean, you would think that possibly, maybe, probably a 75% chance. I'd be willing to take that bet at a 50-year anniversary. John Carpenter, dude, that would just be amazing. That would be an absolute amazing.
Now, Dick Warlock and them, they're getting up there, bud.
Yeah.
They're getting up there. I don't know how old John Carpenter is.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
But he's no spring chicken. I know that.
I'm sure that someone in the chat could help us out with that one for sure, on how old John Carpenter is. But I mean, yeah, you're right. He's
the big reason I was so glad that you got to see
Dick Warlock. Yeah, he was awesome.
That was really cool.
Still one of my favorite celebrities I've met. Yeah.
Yeah, he's up there for me too.
Just the way he was so engaging in the conversation and stuff. Dude, we didn't talk about Halloween once. We talked about Ohio. And he grew up like genuine. 10 miles from me. Like, it's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, why am I all the way in Arizona meeting you for the first time?
I'd say out of your entire trip there, I was most pleased that you got to meet him.
Yeah, dude. It was great. Him and Tom Atkins. They were sitting right next to each other. And, there's stuff that you want to ask Tom Atkins, but you just don't. I think if I were to meet him again, I'd probably ask him, though. Seriously.
I know a lot of... I've just never had that, like, big attachment to Tom Atkins. I know a lot of people do. He's just not one of the guys, like, on my big list. But yeah, man,
the funny thing about Tom Atkins is, like, all those movies he was in, you would see him in one scene and, like, with a female, and then it cut away to something else going on, and when it comes back to him, he's in bed with him.
Yeah, and I know he doesn't like to talk about
that. What are you saying in this break right now? Because if you watch The Fog, him and Jamie Lee Curtis are in a truck together. The all the glass breaks, and they're like, "Oh my God, what was that?" And then it pans away to, like, the DJ and, some of the other stuff that's going on. And then it pans back to him and he's in bed laying with Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, what happened in between the truck that got you here? Like, what are you saying, Tom? And then you look at him in Halloween 3, dude, it's Tom Atkins. Like, what are you saying during the camera?
But I've always heard he doesn't really, like, enjoy that being brought up.
Well, like, he's probably got a wife that's like, motherfucker.
I mean, but still, it's old movies. But yeah, I've just always heard that. And if I hear something like that, I totally respect that with an actor. I'm not going to be the guy to push the button, So yeah, that's wild. Like, I heard Matthew Lillard, for whatever reason, does not like to mention 13 Ghosts. Mm-hmm. And who knows, guys? There are people just like us, He could have, had issues with the director or this, that, and the other. Who knows?
Right.
But for whatever reason, it's not the film he likes to talk about. So, it's just best just to respect that. And because I love 13 Ghosts. Like, and I even like his role in that. But as soon as I heard that, I was like, okay. And I'm glad I did hear that because, I probably would have brought it up, man.
Like, hey, man, how about 13 Ghosts?
Nobody wants to be that tool. Like,
right.
He's like, yeah, I'll sign this, but yeah, can you just go after
no picture for you. We're not taking a picture.
For you. Yeah. Like, oh man. It's funny how you get those little tips too. And you can't always I take everybody at face value, man. I'm not going to judge you on what, the guy over here said, but I've always heard like Linda Blair. I've heard she's not all that nice and whatever, but if you bring up animals and that you're an animal lover, that she'll go above and beyond for you. So I guess just walk up to her with a poodle and you're golden.
You just walk up.
Just grab someone else's dog, go up.
Hi, how you doing? She'd be like, hi, what's your name? You just be like, I love kitty cats. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, I just love rescuing these little guys. Just it's my heart.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, your picture's free.
Yeah. Will you sign my Exorcist poster and write the worst line in the whole movie on there? But don't forget, I love puppies. It's fine. James is saying you can't repair a train wreck like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, but you can give it a whirl. If anyone, you two might be able to pull it off. Man, James, that's a tall order, buddy. That is a tall order.
Damn, but look at him giving us some
that is
confidence in this, order, man. Buddy. It is. I like how he calls it a train wreck. Damn. I mean, it's pretty bad. It is pretty bad. Maybe it just shows how much I love Halloween, because I can still watch Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 anytime, man. Anytime. And I watch it all the way through. But I've never said it's a great film.
That's one I can't. Like, I was just talking in mod chat earlier, and I was saying the PTSD in that movie gives me PTSD. And it's that's coming from a veteran. Okay, like that's it's just like I get to certain points in that movie where it's like, okay, I get it, for the love of God. Like, it's just
these girls up, like, yeah.
But I mean, even Danielle Harris's character is like, okay, Jesus, I get it. You know what I mean? Like it. I mean, you can't. If, in all fairness, I didn't walk in those shoes, so I don't know. But it's just like the message has been gotten across, and yet we've reminded you.
All right, Michael. But let me bring this up.
Sure.
Because you can talk about that, but you don't bat an eye at Laurie Strode's PTSD in the 2018 Halloween.
Right,
that's
but
pretty insane too, man.
She was doing something about it and wasn't constantly screaming and crying into the camera. And yeah. I think that you've mistaken my intent of listening to, someone, or knowing that someone has PTSD and then having to listen to them cry for 45 minutes into the camera and scream at everybody. And it's just like, I was ready for that to be over 10 minutes into it, because I felt like the message was clearly that you have this.
I get it.
We're going to keep revisiting.
I get it. And I felt the same. Because because obviously I brought it up, so I still struggle to think like I'm the only one that bothered me with 2018. Like, because at the same point, like I was kind of over it. And then they had to show her training her daughter in the woods and all that stuff. I was like, Jesus.
It was a flashback, Matt. Flashbacks don't count.
Stop. And God, the doors she had that shut, man. Maximum security prisons would love to have them type of doors.
And she still got stabbed.
She still got stabbed.
And thrown off the balcony. So I mean, what are we doing here?
But it's just fun. It's fun to bring up the stuff that bothers people. I think in horror movies that other people don't. They could they'll come up with something else that you didn't think about.
Right.
Well, I thought this was absolutely stupid, and just we all look at it differently. But yeah.
But I mean, having all those electrical doors and all those cages and all that, you still get stabbed and thrown off the balcony. I mean, in essence, your plan worked. You had a plan, but you
and that switch that turned her outside lights on, man, that was some high power.
That was like a Frankenstein switch. Like you were about to electrocute the monster.
Oh, my.
For sure.
Yeah.
I
love that. I love that movie.
Yeah.
They could have toned that down for me.
Lydia is saying The Strangers was scary because it was simple. That because you were Homeline tied it all together. And they did it again in Pray at Night, where she's like, why are you doing this? And she's like, why not? You know, those are two different parts of those movies that, you know, that was enough for me to say, why not? You know what I mean?
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah. Teresa Stevens
got that sinister smile, and like a little bit of blood's dripping down. I think.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. She has yeah. She's not scared one bit, man. You know, she's still happy with what they've done. You know, it just makes it even more creepy. You know what I mean? Teresa Stevens saying, Mad Dad and Mad Mom watched The Boogeyman 1 today, and Dad said, yes, we were on the clock.
Michael, man, as often as they're watching these horror movies, you know, on the clock, like, I'm going to go out of business, man. I am going to go out of business. I can't pay these people.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And then obviously not worried about the consequences because they put it out on the internet right there too. No, you know?
No, they put it right out there.
Yeah.
Always on the clock. I can't get them off the clock.
Shape saying the place scares the crap out of me with those deadly spiders. Oh, you were talking about Australia. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to cleaning the shop, Dad jumps right off the clock.
Clock's out. It's time to go.
He's got PTO time. He brings up it's just, you know, it's funny.
Or he'll say that, you know, he's outside sales and he worries about that area out there, you know?
Yeah. He's got Jeepers Creepers 4 to watch. You know, he just can't be bothered with that stuff. Yeah.
Lydia saying, I don't wish I was in Australia. I've seen the nature documentaries. Yeah, see, that's what I was talking about. It's exactly what I was talking about. Snakes, spiders will get you. Only in the bushland and country areas. Never here in the city. Well, that's good to know, Wayne. I'll definitely make sure I keep it to, like, if I do go, I'll keep it to, like, Sydney and, you know, major cities for sure. Val is saying, keeping it simple usually tends to be the scarier movies, aka Halloween 78. Yeah, I agree 100%. Once you start to get, like, overly complicated and try to explain everything, to me, it just takes me out of it because it takes my imagination away from how scary it could have really been. You know, and that's what that does for me. Yeah,
and it depends. I also like what maybe what type of horror movie too. Like, especially when you're talking slashers. Like, slashers absolutely can go with the simple and done right. You know, but you start talking like the psychological thriller, the possession and stuff. That sometimes those might, you know, require a little bit more, for sure. Michael, I would like to take this time to let everyone know that the 28th of this month, Michael, hopefully you'll be judging right there with me, but we'll be having our first annual Halloween costume contest right there at Trader's World at Mad Matt's Mask. It's going to be $3 to enter. You can enter up till the 22nd. We'll do a drawing, and that pot will go to the winner. We've got a first, second, third place prize up to $150 to our shop. But man, guys, Michael, you and I, and Mad Dad will be a judge as well. But I know James is ready. He's already signed up. But guys, the more the merrier, and it's going to be a really good time. And you can dress up as anything, any age. It don't have to be horror, whatever you're into. But you guys are welcome. It's going to be a lot of fun. So
I wonder if we'll disagree over a winner like we disagree over horror.
That's why I think we're such good. It's good for us both to be judging because we do see things so differently. So I think it's awesome. Yeah, man, we've got a couple people signed up already, but we definitely want more. So guys, come see me. You can sign up right there at the booth. And again, it's the 28th, and let's get it on. Let's do this. So I'm excited, man.
And depending,
but I can't.
I'll probably wear my hockey mask. That'll probably be as dressed up as I get. But I will tell you this: if in that area, internet's kind of sketchy on my phone, but if I can connect, and it's T-Mobile's the best, let me tell you. If it does connect and everything, I will do that live on Instagram, and I will show you guys some of the costumes and stuff like that, and get some of your opinions on which ones you guys like. So if you do like Instagram and you want to watch that live show, I'll definitely make sure I do that. Internet pending, of course. The internet acts funny on my phone up there, but yeah, that'll be the 28th. That will be the weekend after Scarefest.
Yes.
Right.
And I would like to also say no one affiliated with Mad Matt's Mask is eligible to win. This is a unbiased, true costume contest, guys. So, yeah.
Right. Oh, so Mad Dad can't come in and
he cannot come in and win. But he does have a nice costume. I'm not going to give it away, guys. You'll have to come check it out. And this is the first time I believe he's ever dressed up in his entire life. So, man, if you come just to see that, it's going to be worth it. So, it's going to be great, guys.
Byron Weaver saying Halloween Lives is going to be awesome. I agree, dude. I think it's going to be too. He's also saying Halloween 50, sign me up. Try 5 years. If I can't make it there in 5 years, I obviously have no way of planning anything.
Dude, we can get a freaking whatever, big old Suburban, and we'll all pile in and go down. But I'm 100%
in. Yeah. Val is saying, take my money now for H50. That's what I'm talking about, Val. It's many people that go out there. I think that it would be cool if, since we have plenty of time to find, kind of like we did for Scarefest, kind of get a group together of people that plan on going there to be there. We can all definitely meet up and do something for sure. Because I think that's going to be a blast. I definitely want to see the Myers house and all that stuff. So, and usually Sean Clark does a tour bus up there. So what he's done, and I think they had like 4 or 5 buses this year that he filled up with people, and they would tour all the spots. So, with him being in charge of, a lot of those guys that go up to get autographs, I think he had like special guests and everything that came on the bus tour. So, I mean, how cool would that be, looking at the Halloween house sitting next to like Nick Castle or like Dick Warlock or something? Like,
hell
cool
yeah,
shit.
man. Hell yeah. I want a picture of James by the bush. That's what I want. That would be awesome. So, yeah.
All right, James, you've heard it. You got 5 years, buddy. Start saving up that money, buddy.
James, 5 years. You're coming to the 50th, man. That'll be a shot for the ages.
Byron is also saying, I really want to meet Judy Greer and Kylie Richards at age 50. Yeah, I mean, I really want to meet Andy Matichek. Like, I really like Andy Matichek, and I'm kind of hoping that she'll be out there for sure.
I'd say all the above. Those are all great. There was some, David Gordon Green brought some killer characters to his trilogy, man. He really did.
Yeah. James,
for whatever reason,
included.
James, Jude, and Court. I'd like to meet Lonnie Elam, man. That dude, for whatever, I was telling you that, I saw him in that other show, A Midnight Mass, and dude, he's a solid actor, dude. And I liked his portrayal of Lonnie Elam, him and Cameron's chemistry. I'd like to meet Cameron. I don't know his real name, but I liked him a lot too.
Wayne Turner saying we already lost Donald, aka Loomis. Yeah, we did, man. That I wish I would have had a chance to at least meet him once. Just to say that you took a picture or just shook the hand of Loomis. I think that would be freaking awesome. My Chunky Jordy is saying John Carpenter is 75. Once again, the chat coming through. You guys are awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Going back to Donald Loomis, Donald Pleasance, they could be on Halloween 50, however many years from now, and still no one's going to touch like what Donald Pleasance did for that franchise. Like, it's just, he's those one in a lifetime, characters. He really was. So, I didn't get to meet him as well.
Yeah, I mean, he did. You're right, one of a kind. I definitely leave it at that, because he did so many things for that franchise and so many things for Michael Myers. You know what I mean? Like like Knight said a few months ago on our channel. He was Michael's hype man. if Michael wasn't on the screen, Loomis was like, the evil's here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like he was
yeah.
always there talking about Michael. And that's why, you know, Michael didn't need to be on screen so much. Was Loomis was there just
Building him up,
pumping that in there, man. You know what I mean? It was freaking great.
Like no one else could, you know. And I'll say I don't know if I'm alone on this, but for whatever reasons, one of my favorite, like most memorable Loomis scenes is the scene where he's picked up in the dust and he's picked up by that, you know, old drunken reverend.
Yeah.
You know, something about that, man, is just one of my favorite Loomis scenes, man.
Well, that was the only time besides Halloween 6, that was the only time you saw Loomis smile. Yeah. You know, he had that drink and he had a smile on his face. And it's like, when do you see Loomis smile? We didn't see him smile again until Halloween 6 when he was like very much retired. You know what I mean? Like, that was it. Like, that's for 2 scenes and he smiled.
And I understood his smile. Like, that guy was such a character. Like, how are you not going to just get a little chuckle out of that guy? Like, it was cool to see him finally be able to, like, almost relax for that little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Take that shot of whiskey with the guy. And, you know, I love that scene, man.
Well, kind of like
4. That's 4.
Yeah, that was 4. And kind of like in the original Halloween, he did smile too when he was messing with Lonnie. He's like, get away from that door. You know what I mean? And he had a chuckle before he got the shit scared out of him by Brackett behind him, right?
Yeah.
James is saying, I would love to go see the Myers house and all the other places seen in the movie. Me too, buddy. I think the hospital's up there too from Halloween 2. So, you know, all that stuff's up there. I'd just love to go up there just one time and take some pictures. I think that would be a blast. We'll get all of us in the pictures too. I think it'd be so much fun. H50 needs Busta Rhymes. I wonder how open he'd be to do that. I mean, I'd meet him, you know, like I guess.
I would too. I have nothing against Busta Rhymes. You know, was he my favorite character for a Halloween movie? No, but
I mean, I liked his music. We could talk about his
I have
rap,
nothing against
you know?
Busta Rhymes.
We could definitely do that. Let's see. Where was I? Mad Mom is saying my favorite Jamie Lee Curtis movie is Beverly Hills Chihuahua. All right, Matt, what is your favorite Jamie Lee Curtis movie, not including Halloween 1978? So we got to take that out.
Okay. I'm going to go with a tie, man. I hate to do that, but it's going to be a tie between True Lies and Terror Train, man.
Okay.
Now, if you give me more time, like, you know, say, hey, Wednesday, can you let me know? I might nail it down to one, but those are two of my favorites that come to mind. And Terror Train, Michael, I believe you still haven't seen that, correct?
No, I haven't watched it. No.
Yeah, I definitely like you to give that a view. It's really good, man. It's really good. It's a great you know, simple 80s slasher. And then True Lies, man, was like, you know, aside from horror, my second favorite genre is action. And then if you throw Arnold in there, man, I'm just, you know, I'm a sucker for a good Arnold movie. But it's going to be between those two, my man.
True Lies is definitely in the picture. I really like The Fog, but it wasn't so much of a Jamie Lee Curtis centered movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd probably have to say, you know, at this point, it'd probably be True Lies for me.
All right.
I do really like True Lies,
and she was great in True Lies.
She was.
Now I've not seen The Fog. You know, I know that's going to floor everybody. I've not seen The Fog.
You need to get on that one, man.
I don't think it's one I'm going to love, but I'd like to check it out.
To own a horror shop, you got to see The Fog. Like, it's The Fog. Like, that movie is. I love The Fog. I mean, sure, it probably won't be as great seeing it now as it was to seeing it then. You know what I mean? But that's actually one that I can revisit quite often. You know, it has a lot of familiar faces in it from Halloween 78. So it's a good movie. I enjoy it. Sure. Let's see. The Shape is saying, "Oh no, Halloween 2 is coming on here." We're at that white horse crap. Gee, I got you. Are you talking about?
Matter of fact, we got to talk about that movie.
We do have to talk about that movie, man. We do have to get there, and we will. James, are you talking about the white horse? Is this what you're talking about? Linked to instinct, purity, and the drive of the physical body to release powerful and emotional forces, like rage, with ensuing chaos and destruction. That's probably the white horse stuff you're talking about. More than likely. All right, we will get to that in just a minute. What I did is I put that up there and I lost my place in the chat. And I saw one here. Val was saying one of the biggest reasons I didn't like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is he turned Loomis into a twat waffle. I love that. He did. And I love that term. He definitely Loomis was definitely a downer for this movie for sure.
That's probably my biggest argument with that film. We were just talking about how much Loomis is the man, dude. Loomis is the man, and I guess trying something different and just try to make this like Michael can turn anybody into after dealing. I don't know, but oh yeah, man, he was cringy. He was so cringy. But I also love Malcolm McDowell, and he's not the one who he didn't write it. So I always enjoy seeing him on the screen. But man, yeah, what they did to Loomis, dude.
It was
Loomis
just
doesn't yell at women to get him tea sizzling hot and tell him that'll smack it out of him. And like, no, dude, no.
They totally lost track of who Loomis was, like for sure. And I understand putting your own stamp on something and trying to make it different and everything, but man, you couldn't have. I mean, I almost felt like that character was just kind of. I don't know. I don't want to say that he was trying to live up to Halloween, but it just lost track of who that character was and what he did for Halloween for sure. Wayne is saying, Val, yep, the male version of Gail Weathers at her worst. And yeah, I mean, it was very, very close to that for sure.
At her worst.
Yeah.
Definitely at her worst. Because gosh, even with Gail, you could tell there was like some type of human underneath it all. But with that dickhead, I don't know.
Wayne is saying, I agree with Michael on this. We got the first time with her screaming in Rob Zombie 2. Yeah, dude, like she's screaming through the whole freaking movie. I literally had the volume on my TV turned down for a while just because of her. It was just nonstop. She's screaming it at Danielle Harris. She's screaming at Brackett. She's screaming at her therapist. She's screaming at her friends in the record store. She's screaming at the party. It's just like, dude, I get it. You're mad. Like, how many different ways do I have to dude, her throat had to have killed her, making that movie because she was screaming through, I would say 50% of the scenes that she was in that movie. She was either crying or screaming through the whole thing. And it was just like, good God, man. Like this is just becoming annoying at this point. I started looking at my phone halfway through the movie and I had to put it down. Like shit, I gotta finish watching this movie so I know what I'm fucking talking about. But yeah, this one is definitely not moving anywhere on my ranking list for sure. Val is saying, and the dialogue of these movies was just wow. Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. 100%. Let's see. James is saying, I feel sorry for that poor cow. No milk today. That's another thing too, man. That whole ride with them was just like, it just had no purpose in that movie whatsoever. Like,
no, I loved the end of that scene though. I loved it because I do have to say there's scenes in Rob Zombies 2 that I thoroughly enjoy. Now, yes, the ride, their dialogue was like really, I'm with you guys on that. But as far as after the crash and Michael busting out of that thing like an absolute beast, and the slow walk around, and he never looked better in my opinion. I do like the end of that scene. I gotta stick up for that. Until the horse gets there.
I was about to say, I was waiting for it. Like, so the end of that scene is the horse. Like,
so-
where are we going with that here?
So
Like,
I don't like the beginning or end of the scene, but that little transition there, like I do. I like him hitting the horse, the cow. And I thought it was so cool just how loud it hits when he's busting out of there. Like, I'm like, this dude is a behemoth. And he slowly gets down. The mask, guys, I've said it numerous times. In my opinion, it's the best. It's my favorite Michael Myers mask, the dream sequence. He does that slow walk around and cuts off Richard Brake's head and just drops the glass and all that. But that's where it needs to end for me. Then he brings the white horse, and I'm just like, no.
here we go.
But yeah, let me know if I'm alone on as far as what I do like in that scene. I really thought it was awesome. I try to find something out of shit, so to speak. But the dialogue on the right up there was just god awful. It's like almost like he's just trying to be trashy for no reason.
That's exactly what it seemed like.
Exactly. Like, come on, guys. Like, I mean, I've done construction work. I've been around some trashy guys, but it don't really rarely get that bad. Like, come on. These are two professional cornermen. And then I'm with everybody on the whole white horse is just stupid.
I just don't think that it's something like, if you want to go supernatural with it, it's, well, you know what? There's too much to say. I'm not going to just start from the middle there with that for sure. Melissa's saying, hey, Michael and Matt and chat. What is up, Melissa? How you doing tonight? Glad to have you here.
Melissa. Welcome.
Let's see. You guys are going so much. It's moving my chat all around. Freaking love it.
That's awesome.
Lydia's throwing the information for Mad Matt's mask costume Facebook link up there. So if there is something you're looking for, or just want to reach out to Matt himself, there is the link to his Facebook page right there.
Heck yeah. It's going to be fun, guys. It's going to be fun. See Michael and I disagree once again. No, dude, the sound was sick.
Oh, dude, Obi-Wan Kenobi won. I'm telling you, the lightsaber was on point, and I loved it. Yeah. Byron Weaver, when it comes to writing a horror movie scripts for slasher films, it's best to have 2 or 3 writers in the writing room. My example is Halloween Ends had 4 writers, I believe. Dude, I couldn't even begin to break down what happened there. Like, it's just, yeah. And James is saying, oh no, there's that white horse. That's what I'm talking about, buddy.
James, you're letting that white horse consume you, buddy.
James gonna come into your costume contest riding on a white horse, get off of that Michael outfit. Like, oh my God, how'd you get that horse, James?
Now I will say, man, James is ready, guys. So you got to bring it.
Oh yeah. Lydia is saying, make sure to follow Michael on Instagram to catch any possible live streams there. And she leaves the link for that. Yeah. If you want to reach out to me, that is my Instagram link. I'm constantly posting our thumbnails for shows up there. And I think I'm going to start uploading some pictures that I do have from Phoenix that I want to throw up there for Mad Monster. And I'll definitely be including some pictures from Scarefest coming up. And I think I have some pictures from Horror Hound as well. I'll start throwing those up there. So if you guys want to check that out, follow me on Instagram.
You absolutely should, because I don't know if I've seen any of your pictures from Mad Monster.
I got so much footage from Mad Monster, and every time I pull it all out, I just put my head down because I took a lot. So I do have a lot of stuff for that. It's
just don't overthink it. Cherry pick a few favorites, man.
Right. Going into editing right now, like my list of things to do. Like I've started on our the intro for the channel that everyone likes so much. I found some things wrong with it, some things that since I've grown as an editor and understanding things a little better than when I made that. So I'm constantly going through and re-adding all those clips, and I'm changing a lot of things in there, and I'm probably about 50 seconds done with it. So I think it's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. So I got a little ways to do with that. But as for pictures, yeah, I can put those up on Instagram.
I mean, you got to figure out how to put in the white horse for James. So
nah, I'm gonna throw that. Yeah, I'm gonna take that out there. Yeah.
It should begin with the white horse.
Yes. Then people immediately just switch off the channel, like, oh, we're not doing this.
Like, this dude's a Rob Zombie 2 fan, dude.
There's going to be one person that I gained from it. It's going to be like, it's awesome. I'm telling you, it's the best channel ever. James is saying, wear your Part 7 mask. You would rock, Michael. Well, yeah, dude, I could. But the thing with that mask is it's got the leather straps and they're fixed. They're not adjustable.
So your head's too big?
Yeah, I wish. So it's actually made for Jason's makeup head. So it's like a big, like, even to get it on,
them? They're not adjustable?
Not this one. No, it's not. Because it's screen accurate.
I guess you're going Uber then, brother.
No, I'm not putting that on my head. And then, so with that, even to get it on that, I've had to pull the back of the straps together and put a rubber band so it pulls it back tight to stay on this right here.
What about your ex?
I could
your ex over here.
Yeah, I could put that on. I mean, it would go on my face, but it's signed and everything, and I really don't want to.
Okay, so what are you putting on, Michael?
Probably
which one is
cool t-shirt, or probably the one I wear around to the conventions and stuff. I'll probably wear that one.
I got you. That one's decent. That one's very decent.
It's fun because I can do whatever I want with it. You know what I mean? It's a blast. Wayne Turner said, y'all hear about the next movie from the creator of The Room? Tommy Whack Job, LOL, a horror movie about a killer shark. No, I have not heard about that.
I'm all about shark movies, man. I watch the dumb ones that, like, they show the Discovery Channel shark, and then when it goes to like actual bite them, it's like the worst CGI you've ever seen in your life. I watched the entire thing. Like it gets weird.
I watched the Meg 2 the other day because it's free on HBO now. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I mean, the first one wasn't that great, so this one was way worse. But I watched the whole thing. It was just like, that's just fine.
Was it worse than the second?
It was.
Like,
but
they just go too over the damn top.
It's just like you could see where everything was going. You know what I mean? And it almost became a Fast and Furious movie at the end of it. Like, jumping over the shark with like a jet ski and doing a backflip.
I don't know why they do that.
Like, what are you? I laughed a lot, but I mean, it was terrible.
Now, I'm still gonna watch it. I'm a shark movie fan.
Well, I'm not saying it's worse than the crap that I've watched on Tubi. Shark movies, and I get a kick out of those. I mean, but
if they tried and to do a real like serious megalodon movie, man, it could be good. It could be good. But yeah, you don't jump over them on Sea-Doos and throw spears at them.
Well, I mean, when you start having dinosaurs come through too, you're just like, okay, now we're in Jurassic Park, and this is just
there's dinosaurs too.
There's dinosaurs, yeah. It's fucking dinosaurs. Like, it's just like, what are we even doing here at this point? Like,
that's the one I asked you if you wanted to go to the theaters with me, and you like shied away. You're like,
it's like, nah, I'm good on that one.
Wash my hair. I got to do the whole conditioning thing.
Well, shit, I'm telling you, I almost went and saw The Exorcist last night. But I was out and just time wise.
Did that hit? That's out.
Yeah, it's getting horrible reviews right now.
That's okay. That's okay.
They're saying it's not good. And here's the thing, and let me just say this about The Exorcist, okay? It's damn near impossible to make this movie. The amount of pressure that's going to be on you to try to continue, potentially, in a lot of people's opinion, one of the greatest horror movies of all time, and to say now, we're going to make a sequel to it, and it's, I want to see it for myself. But a lot of the things that I'm hearing about it is kind of spot on in what, you see with the trailer. So the thing about the original Exorcist that makes it so good is how you feel. I go to see Halloween because I like Michael, right? If I'm watching an Exorcist movie, I want to be scared. Now, if I'm sitting there, like I don't go see Halloween to be scared. I don't go see Friday the 13th to be scared. You know what I mean? The Exorcist, those are the things that I go to because I want that adrenaline that a movie like that can give me. Like the first Conjuring did, you know, the original Exorcist did. Those are the types of movies. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't like The Nun too, because it became so, it took me out of that. Like what the Conjuring started with the Conjuring franchise was they gave you that possibility of, you know, it potentially being real that made it scary. And by the time you got to The Nun too, it was so far away from that it took away the originality of what, you know, the Conjuring universe started. Like we're so far off of that at this point. I mean, you have to admit, whether you liked The Nun 2 or didn't, you have to admit it was freaking hilarious when the guy's just taller than them and holding the eyeballs up and they're just trying to jump and get it, like a adult holding a toy up that a little kid's trying to jump for. I mean, it just got to that point to where, you know, once you take away that element of scary, that's when it's just like, okay, this is just another one of those movies, you know, and it kind of like makes you feel about like you can even look at the first Annabelle. You can look at Annabelle Creation. You know, those are things that actually gave you like, oh shit, like, you know, like I know that Annabelle's real. I know it didn't just look like this, but if this is, you know, a possibility that this could happen, yes, you know, there is. But when you start getting into things to where you're just like, where are we going with this? You know, I feel like that you've done lost at that point. You've taken away from what made the other one so special. And it's just like, well, at least there were some cool pictures of The Nun, you know, and I think The Nun looks cool. You know, other than that, though, it was just like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we here?
And, you know, you can also say that about most franchises. Like, a great example is A Nightmare on Elm Street. You know,
that started one place and ended up somewhere totally different.
You know, I actually enjoyed The Nun too. You know, it's more so like atmosphere.
Their atmosphere was terrible. I fell asleep 4 times in that movie.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. But it's like, you know, what I'm saying is, what do they, you know, like, what do they need to do? Because I see your points, Michael. What do they need to do? You know, and it's not just A Nightmare on Elm Street that went from that original was frightening. That original was frightening, and then he's on a broomstick a couple of, you know, where you're just like, what? You know, like, you know, Jason's in space, where you're just like, you know, having a good time, but not scared whatsoever. You know, what is it about that where they, you know, most franchises do? It's a fine line. It's a fine line. You want to stick with what works, but you can't strictly stick with what works and make the same movie. But you can't go too far from what works and make it just ridiculous. You know, so I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm just strictly talking with you great people. Like, what, you know, what do they need to do?
Like when the goat was chasing them, I was literally laughing. That was
awesome.
I was freaking laughing. It looked so fake. It looked like somebody was in a suit with some strings on it, running it down some stairs. That was freaking hilarious. Oh my God. That was so bad. That was so bad.
I love the goat.
Oh my God. Oh, that one was bad.
Yeah. I like The Nun too. I like from the beginning, the priest up in there and the catching on fire, and like, yeah, man, I'm a Nun fan all through and through.
If the Nun could do that, why didn't she just do it to everybody? Like she did with the priest. Like, why wasn't she just doing that in the whole last movie of just burning everybody up?
Well, or like make a movie, Michael.
It's anyway. Melissa saying, "Thought I missed this live. I had to go to Walmart." Hey, sometimes you got to go to Walmart, Melissa. I get it.
Oh yeah, you do.
Glad to have you here for sure. She was also saying Carpenter, I guess, was a snob at a con last weekend or at Halloween 45.
Doesn't surprise me a bit.
That's right on par with. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I kind of heard the same thing. I actually saw a video of some things there for sure.
Doesn't surprise me a bit.
James is saying, I would love for there to be a H50. Better start stashing money under the floorboards. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 5 years, James. Think about the money that you could save in 5 years. Wayne is saying, sadly, I got to go to work already. Thanks for having me briefly, all. Enjoy. Wayne, you take care, buddy. I know you're probably gone at this point because I am a little behind on the comments for time, but it's always good having you here.
Absolutely. Our pleasure.
Val is saying, I will say this about this movie. I appreciate that he took a chance and made it his own. I just feel like he fell off the rails with it. 100%.
With the Rob Zombie 2?
Yeah.
I'll always give him that, you know. And here's something that was hitting me today. Like, what is it about Halloween 2? Okay? These are movies that both were made with the director not wanting to make them. Rob Zombie
wanted to make the first one.
No. John Carpenter did not want to make Halloween 2.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie didn't want to make his sequel.
Right.
You know, so I'm saying the same thing with, you know, Rob Zombie's 2 and Carpenter's 2. Both of them were not excited about making these films, you know. Now, in my opinion, we got a rare gem with the original Halloween 2. Like, I love it. It's way high up on my list, possibly rising as we speak. Like, I really enjoy that one. You know, but Carpenter didn't want to make it. I'm glad he did. But it's just like, what is it about that? And then if Rob Zombie didn't want to make it, well, then it's written all over his film. You know, where Carpenter, I guess, at least, you know, made a good film and hit it. But
Carpenter didn't direct Halloween 2. He was just a producer on Halloween 2. Carpenter didn't make Halloween 2.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
He didn't really, but I mean, that was how they got Halloween 3. That was how they allowed him to make Halloween 3, as if he was a part of Halloween 2.
Yeah.
Then Halloween went into its, what was it, a 6-year hiatus, to where we actually heard nothing from Halloween after that. And it was just a downtime for Halloween, for sure.
Man, I wish I could have been old enough to, like, I mean, I was alive when 4 came out, but I wasn't old enough to, like, know the whole backstory, like how long the hiatus was, and then this is Michael coming back. Like, God, that had to have been awesome. Like, do you remember all that, Michael? Like the hiatus, and then
that's why I'm a big Friday the 13th fan, because that's what we had. We didn't have Michael. You know what I mean? We didn't have Michael like the next generation had Michael. They had 4, 5, 6, Halloween H2O. You know, all those came out in a respective, you know, time frame.
So you had Jason and John Hughes films.
I had Jason and John Hughes films. I had Freddy. You know, Freddy came out in 84.
Freddy was tearing it up.
But Jason was there, man. Like, in a time of need, who was there? The man in the hockey mask. You know, the man behind the mask was there. Every year you were getting a Friday the 13th, you know, and it was always there. And that's my guy. Val is saying Trading Places is an awesome movie with her. It is. It's been a while since I've seen it. That's Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. Trading Places. That has been a minute since I've seen that movie.
That's got Curtis in it?
Yes.
I don't know if I've ever seen Trading Places.
Yeah.
Is that like a body switch type movie?
No, it's more of an identity switch. They don't trade bodies, but then again, it's been forever since I've seen that. Mad Mom is saying, Michael, Mad Dad said you were going to block me if I don't stay with the script. You wouldn't do that, would you? What script are we talking about here? Show me the script, and then I'll tell you whether or not you're getting blocked.
What's he saying, Michael, Mad Dad?
I don't know.
You were going to block me if I don't stay with the script. You wouldn't do that. I don't know what he's talking about. Who knows, man?
Yeah.
My dad's favorite thing is to mess with you, though. I know that.
Hey.
You know, that means he likes you.
Well, the thing about your dad, the thing I like so much about your dad is he gives it, but he can take it too. And a lot of people can't. A lot of people who give it and then can't take it, you know, it's, yeah, I definitely like your dad, 100%.
His skin's as thick as an alligator.
Val is saying, and then the white horse thing. I was just like, nope.
Are we still talking about white horses? Oh man, damn.
Yeah.
All
right.
That's what his movie's going to be known for. It's like, I mean, it really is. Like, 10 years from now, they'll be like, "Hey, did you ever see Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? Is that the movie with White Horse?" Like, that's how it's going to go down.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Melissa saying, Val, I just can't do Rob Zombie Halloweens. I like every Halloween movie, but Rob Zombies, I can't watch. H2 only because nightmares since I was little. I got you. I never like when A Nightmare on Elm Street came out, it was kind of creepy, but none of the slashers, other than that one scene in part 3 that I talk about in Friday the 13th part 3, where his face is up against the window at the end. I never really got scared from that. There's two things that stick in my head from the slasher movies that scared me. Was part 3 and Jason, and Friday the 13th part 3. And I've talked about this quite a bit on the channel.
That part is super sick.
Looking out the window, and he runs down and busts the door off the hinges. It scared me as a little kid. And then It's Me, Billy, when he's behind that door in the crack looking through there, and then he just goes nuts and is chasing her through the house, man. That as a little kid, man, those are the two that really stuck with me from a slasher standpoint, where I was just like, like I don't like thinking about those things.
For me, it was the Oompa Loompas.
In a slasher?
I'm just saying what scared me, man. It was them damn Oompa Loompas and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, weird shit scared me, man. I thought Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was creepy. Wizard of Oz, the Flying Monkeys, the Witch, that shit scared me. This is just the stuff I can think about. And aside from the things I'm naming, as goofy as they sound, nothing else has really scared me. Now, granted, I was probably very young, but dude, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory scared me more than any other slasher I could think of. But the one slasher that did scare me was the original Nightmare on Elm Street. The no running in the hallway, the Tina in the bag with the, going down the hallway, all that stuff. That all freaked me out. But that's it, man. That's
how old were you when you saw those?
See, it's so far back. I wanna say like you're talking like 6, 7.
Yeah.
Young.
Yeah.
Young.
I was probably like we didn't go to the theater to see A Nightmare on Elm Street, so more than likely I probably saw it, on TV for the first time, probably like HBO or something. We had HBO and the movie channel when I was a kid, so it was probably on one of those. So I was probably like 8 or so, and I thought Freddy was creepy. Don't get me wrong, but I never really got into that. Like,
well, really, the scenes that scared me weren't even Freddy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on.
It just never really, I don't know. Like we used to joke around with like friends and stuff. And, I was telling you, I had that Freddy mask with the styrofoam hat when I was a little kid. I thought of him more as being cool than being scary, even as a kid.
He's definitely cool.
He just kind of had that like that personality that slashers didn't really have. Like he kind of had that lean when he stood there with the blades down. He's always making sure his hat was on. It was just I just thought it was more cool than anything else.
Coolest child molester I've ever known.
Anyway. The Horror Corner's here saying, sorry, I missed a lot. Hey, what's going on? Happy to have you here for sure.
Oh, man. Great to see you, my friend. Great to see you, buddy. No worries. No worries. Great to have you on here.
And Russell Dorsey's in the chat saying, what's up, everyone? I stabbed that like button like Michael Myers before I came in this awesome stream and chat. Happy Friday, everyone. What is up, Russell?
Is this Russell just coming on?
This is Russell. He said, I just got done watching The Nun 2. It was good. You missed like 10 minutes ago. We were talking about The Nun 2, Russell.
I'm glad you missed it, Russell. It was great. Michael loved it. And he can't wait to see it again.
Oh, God. Well, the Horror Corner is saying, I'm excited for this Friday the 13th because it's in October and we have school off because it's the end of the quarter. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Miles, man, that is absolutely awesome, and I missed you on here, buddy. It's great to see you back on here, man.
Sure. Russell is saying was confused tonight because I'm used to Sundays. Don't worry, we'll be back Sunday still. We're just trying to figure out. We're just trying to finish up what we didn't finish up Sunday. We're gonna jump into Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. We've pretty much been hanging out with the chat for the last hour. Everybody has kept this so interesting with everything. So it's just been tough to jump away.
And
from
let's face it, we all know basically what everybody thinks about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 at this point. There's no reason to break it down.
Yeah. Melissa's saying Freddy does nothing for me for horror movies. See?
Oh, okay.
And the Shape is saying, come on now, Matt, you were afraid of Oompa Loompas. And there's your topic for conversation at the shop tomorrow.
Yeah, man. It just let me know if I'm alone. Anybody that was younger, that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory had some creepy vibes, man, going on.
I'll be honest, I don't even know if I saw it as a kid.
If I'm alone, then I already know I'm a weird dude, so no offense taken, but that witch, as far as with the Wizard of Oz, man, she got me as a kid, man. And it was that guy that was like creeping around the candy store in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He was kind of tall man, kind of resembled like Tall Man from Phantasm. He was super creepy. And I do want to say this, Michael. When I got
boy,
and then when I got into my teens, it's always been random things that freak me out. So as a young teenager, my room it's always been surrounded with like horror stuff. And one of my favorite things to do would be like, light some candles, turn the lights out, late at night and watch horror movies. And I do remember 2 instances, and it's just so random that where I did get a little freaked out and like just called it a night, kind of thing. One was actually on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Mm-hmm.
When
really?
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's weird. And it could be just like, that it was getting late, I was by myself, but whatever, but I'm just being honest. I always keep it real here. And, it was the scene where she's at the, what's her name? Stretch is at the record store, and she's going down in that like lower level where, she finds Chop Top.
Yeah.
And he's acting all different types of weird, doing his thing. That scared.
That was a little eerie. Like if you were to put yourself in that situation, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying it freaked me out. And, I remember I called it quits for the evening on that. And then the other one of all things was the Blair Witch 2.
2?
Yeah, the Blair Witch 2. They were like driving I want to say a van, down a dark road, and like the girl ghost was like appearing on the side of the road type thing. I don't know how well you guys remember it, but so I'm just I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's always very random things that give me the chills, and then I can watch something that freaks most people out and I'm fine.
It's funny you mentioned the Blair Witch, because the end of the first Blair Witch creeped me out when the camera fell and the kid was standing in the corner. That kind of gave me like oh shit. You know what I mean? That gave me that. And I wanted to laugh about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, because had you not turned it off when you did, you were mere moments away from Leatherface hip thrusting his chainsaw until what appeared to be climax, and he turned it off and left. So, I mean, if there was any terror there, it would have been shortly taken away had you stuck it out for about 3 more minutes of that movie.
Yeah.
And it was just like...
and this wasn't even on my first viewing. Like, I had seen the Texas Chainsaw 2 before, because I knew what it was all about. But I guess it was just, right time, right place. But, I'm sitting there in the dark. Everybody's asleep, and Stretch goes down that basement. And, dude, hats off to Bill Moseley. I was just talking to Lydia about this. He's like an underrated horror icon. If you're to ask me, man, he's just had some of the most killer roles that he just destroyed, made them his own. And it's a shame when sometimes you'll go to a convention and you'll see him, and he's got 5 people in his line, and you go over there and Robert's wrapped around the building. It's like but he killed Chop Top, dude. That's another, like, there's one and only. No one else can play Chop Top. I don't care how good of an actor you are, what theater you came from. Bill Moseley, man, he's a beast.
Yeah, he's a cool dude too, man. I helped him cover up his table in Phoenix.
I remember you saying that.
Like, he was like, "Hey, man, can you grab the other end of this and help me cover this up?" I'm like, "I'm not gonna say no to you, dude. Like, yeah, help you out."
And maybe I need to be more talkative because I've met some people, but I'm not the guy. Like, I know there's other people online. I want to see them. If a celebrity says 1 or 2 words to me, I'm good, man. I don't have to sit there and ask you about your kids or go into this, Yeah. So I guess maybe that's why I don't have a whole lot of cool stories. But I try to just make it simple and move on. But because I met Bill and he was fine. But I don't ask him to do cartwheels for me or anything.
It's funny because with me, it really depends on who I'm talking to. Like, there's plenty of celebrities that's been like, "Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you."
Yeah.
But then there's other ones. Like when I met James Jude Courtney, he's like, "Hey, how's your day going?" I'm like, "Good." I was like, "The fucking fire scene. We got to talk about the fucking fire scene from Halloween Kills." This was like, what was it, about a year and a half ago at this point. And it was just like, all I wanted to do was talk to him about that fire scene. And, and he was happy as hell to talk about it, man. He's just like, "Yeah, man, you had me in 3 fire suits. I couldn't see. My eyes were shut the entire time." And I'm just like, man, that was like probably the best image ever out of Halloween. Like, seriously, it was the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life. And then I told him, "Thank you for bringing Michael back because you actually feel like Michael to me." And, and he got a big smile on his face, man. And he's like, thank you for that. Like, because you did, like, and we've talked about it before, like, even with his mask off, I think you brought up one time we were talking, even with his mask off and he's walking, you believe that that's Michael, just by the way that he's walking. And 100%, man. Sure. He's freaking great.
And I'll go as far as to say that, like, us Halloween fans, I just hope, like you and I know, I hope everybody knows how blessed we were to have him as Michael Myers, because we were, man. We absolutely were. He was amazing on and off camera, dude. Like, my mom, Mad Mom, she met him at her very first convention, and she could not stop talking about him. I mean, the guy is just. I was blown away meeting James Jude, just on how cool he really was. And then the same token, how well he portrayed Michael Myers. Like, we were very fortunate, us Michael fans, to have him cast as Michael Myers, man. I can't say that enough. Like, he was awesome.
Oh yeah, he was, man. Couldn't have said it better myself, for sure. What a great guy too, right?
Mm-hmm.
What a freaking great guy. So, dude, let's talk some Halloween too. This movie starting off, right where the other one left off, or at least, we thought that it was going to be right where, it left off, with, her shooting him in the face. And then she's walking down the street. And to this, I'm digging this, right? Brackett pulls up, and he's just like, oh, she's still carrying the gun. You know what I mean? And she's just looking rough. You know what I mean? Like, she has definitely seen better days. So it's just like, man, this is starting off right for me. And we immediately go into the hospital. We immediately go into the dream sequence. And so many, you've got the lady from, what was that movie she was in? Was it Mama? Or was it Ma? The movie Ma.
And I just watched that for the first time last night.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember seeing that right when it came out. Not in theaters, but holy shit. I'm sorry. I'll get to it in a minute.
We won't go on about that, but I liked it.
I just want to take a quick second. This guy right here, Mark Roten. Mike, I like watching y'all talk about these movies. I know so much about them. I don't know anything about them. Not a horror movie fan. This guy right here. Okay, let me tell you about this guy right here. Mark, it's great to see you here, buddy. This guy right here was with me in the military. He was in my unit, a good friend, living in Alabama, and we have definitely had some adventures together for sure. Mark, it's great to see you here, buddy. I'm glad that you stopped by for sure. Great guy right there for sure.
Welcome, Marcus. Welcome.
Oh wow, Mark, I wasn't ready for that, buddy. Jesus, great to see you here. So we get into the dream sequence. The lady from Maz there, and she comes back tore up. You see Michael, he's standing beastly over her. You get that famous stab down that he gives that's all over the cover of this movie. So it looks so good. The art that comes out of it is freaking fantastic. You know what I mean? So at this point, the chase is on and it's feeling Halloween to me, right? And not to mention, just to take a quick step back, you get to see Laurie going through all those surgeries, like fingernails jacked up. You know what I mean? Like they're sewing that back together and they're putting her back together. So how were you feeling at this point, right before the chase starts?
Great.
Yeah.
I was feeling great, man. We can't talk about the dream sequence without showing that amazing dream sequence mask. God, I love it, guys. I freaking love it. The bullet hole, the blood, but check that guy out, man. I fell in love, Michael, with his look from this dream sequence, man.
Yeah.
And up to this point, I'd say he's flawless. I loved Sheriff Brackett pulling up and whoop whoop, there she is walking. In the hospital. Now we haven't talked about Michael showing up yet, correct?
That is correct.
So,
well, he's just showing up, and we get those downward stabs, on the nurse.
Okay, well, that is one of my favorite Michael kills.
Oh, it's freaking awesome.
If I'm being honest, that's what's so strange to me about this movie. Guys, I swear to you, it's got a lot of scenes that I really, really dig. But I'll never, ever say this is a good movie. But it does have scenes that I really enjoy. And I guess that's why at any given moment I can watch the film. But that slow walk into the, whatever that is, the triage room, whatever.
Yeah.
That slow walk in there, and, the stabs are so brutal. He has to at least give her 5 too many. And it's just, yeah, man, I'm loving it at this point, Michael.
Yeah, you really get that that feeling. You know what I mean? That feeling that you look for when you watch Halloween. When a good chase is on, you kind of feel it. In your stomach, to where it's like, you get the oh shit moment, like, to the point where you want to stand up and be like, run. You know what I mean? Like, and it's doing a good job of that.
Right.
And he does that turn and he sees her, and then it's off to the races. You know what I mean? It goes through the hospital, it goes down the stairs. You're seeing trails of bodies that Michael has left in his wake, as she's running through. She runs outside. And man, all I've got to say is when she gets to the security, outside security, what do you call those things? Like the little house. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a guard station, I guess.
Yeah.
You call it like a guard station.
Yeah.
She gets in there.
Buddy's shack.
poor Buddy comes in with his coffee.
Buddy's
you know,
love shack.
Yeah, whatever. Like, I don't know what kind of love's going on in there, man, but hopefully there was some, because poor Buddy, man, he's trying to be a good guy. He rolls up with his car. He's going to go pull it up, even though it's just right out there. They could have ran to the car together. He wants to pull it up front, just so she doesn't have to go out in the rain, and then, bad things ensue as you see Michael coming across the parking lot. He's looking around for her inside. And poor Buddy takes what was it? An axe, wasn't it?
Axe to the back.
To the back, yeah. And how were you feeling at this point? Like,
Buddy's one of those poor bastards that as soon as you see him, his days are numbered. Like as soon as you see him,
yeah,
he's screwed. And nobody wants to see that happen to the jump to conclusions Matt guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I'm loving it. One of my, I got to rewind. Another just favorite image for me, and I'm all about the visual, guys. Is when Michael first steps out in the rain with the axe, pauses for a second, sees the destination where he's going to go, and then just beelines it out there in the rain. I thought it was beautiful. Man. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes when it's raining, I'm at like Kroger, I'll kind of try to do it myself. But yeah, man, it was awesome.
Let me piggyback a little bit off of that to where my favorite image was probably him looking through the screened in door there. Like it was kind of like caged in, and you kind of see Michael looking in, and the rain's coming down.
Yeah, okay.
His hair's down, and it's just, to me, it just looked freaking awesome. You know what I mean? Very brutal. As Michael eventually, breaks his way in there.
The seniors. Go ahead, Michael. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, he gets in there, and he's just, he just breaks through, and that's, when you get her waking up, screaming. And it's just like the whole way that went, I was like, this is awesome. And then when she wakes up, I'm like, oh. And then it's like 2 years later. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't even like a few months later. It was like 2 years later, because I do remember it saying 2 years. And then I also remember later on in the movie, Sheriff Brackett telling, one of the officers, you're going to sit there like you did last year. Even if she kicks you out, you're going to sit out there like you did last year. So we know that this is a second Halloween that's passed and not one. So it had been 2 years.
Yeah, and I was going to say that the scene, I just got excited. I'm sorry. The scene that you were talking about with him peering through with the rain and everything, I believe that's when it sealed it for me that was my favorite look of Michael Myers. He had strands of the hair that were like matted and coming in front of his face. And, that's when it sealed it for me. The exact scene that you're talking about, and peering through there. And you're talking about, I mean, this beats out the 1978 Michael. And this is something I just am an absolute goon about and love. So, for me, just for him to beat that look in this scene was impressive on its own for me. But love the look of the dream sequence. I wish it could have, been that throughout the film, but yeah, Laurie wakes up.
You could tell that, Laurie's going through her stuff, and, she's very adamant and screaming, and, they have the next morning coffee with Sheriff Brackett and Annie, and they're talking about, did you hear Laurie last night? Apparently, 2 years later, this is still the thing that they're going through. And, she's obviously, struggling with the stuff that, she's went through, having nightmares and stuff. And she's actually seeing a therapist who, I was so happy to see the therapist because it was played by someone that's dear to me, is Margot Kidder. Now, Margot Kidder, if you don't know who Margot Kidder was, she was the wife in the original Amityville. She was in Black Christmas. She was one of the deaths in Black Christmas. She was the girl that was drinking a lot and ends up getting killed on the bed. she had probably the best dialogue in Black Christmas. And then she was also Lois Lane in the Christopher Reeve Superman movie. So Margot Kidder is someone's definitely for me to see her in this movie. Now
that's all new to me, Michael. That's awesome. I didn't know.
So the thing with Margot Kidder is it's the kind of the irony in her being a therapist was she had therapy issues herself. Like she had a lot of incidents because she was struggling with demons of her own. And to see her as a therapist was kind of like, I kind of see the irony there. That she's the therapist, but it's fantastic to see her. Like to me, that was Lois Lane when I was a kid. And granted, she didn't really look like Lois Lane anymore. And, from a physical standpoint, she wasn't like a beauty queen, right? She never was. Margot Kidder wasn't. She was pretty, but she wasn't. She was just, as Lois Lane, she was just so witty and she didn't give a shit about anything. So to me, looking at, female role models as a, male kid, there are a couple women that I looked to that was like, that lady can do anything. One of which was Carrie Fisher, who played Princess Leia. It was like, look, she doesn't care. She'll get out there with a blaster just like anybody else and tear you up. And another one was Lois Lane from Superman because she was always getting into something and she was fearless. And to see her on that, it put a big smile on my face. But the bad thing about it was shortly following it, she's just getting yelled at, screamed at the whole time, by someone. And she's like, look, you're abusing your medication at this point, and you're constantly screaming it. You know what I mean? So you get to see the early struggles of Laurie Strode there. And how were you feeling at that point?
Confused. I'd say confused is the best way to put it. We just came off of that amazing opener.
Yeah.
Then it did come to a shock to me that it was just a dream. And then I'm just now starting to see this Laurie Strode that is nothing like the Laurie Strode from his original. So I'm confused, man. I'm wondering what route he's gonna go. Where this film's gonna go. What is Michael gonna? I'm just loaded with questions. Loaded with questions. What's Michael gonna look like at this point? That's always number one for me. He looked amazing in the dream sequence, but that was a dream. What's he look like now? And I loved Laurie. I loved Laurie in the first one. I thought that Scout played, I think to this day, I still think it's her best role. So I really grew to like her. We did get that little bit of, Daniel Harris, which was also weird. They're like a little bit of chemistry. Like you could see their separation.
Yeah.
You could see their separation. So it's just a whole bunch of new territory, man. Where I'm just, left with questions. Michael, while you go into the next sequence here, I'm going to take a quick restroom break, buddy.
All right. I'll just go through the chat here for a little bit.
I am, man, with that. It's just like, what are we getting into? Yeah.
All right. Sure. Jerry Wilson is in the chat saying, hey, Michael, and hey, Matt. What is up, Jerry? What is going on, buddy? Lydia's putting up in the chat, like and follow Mad Matt's Mask on Facebook to keep up the latest products coming into the shop. Again, she's put that link up there for us. So if you are wanting to get a hold of Matt or check out what they have in their shop, there is the link to do so on Facebook. Russell was saying that the hospital scene was cool. It definitely was, man. And I think to me, getting down to it, that's probably the best part of the movie, in my opinion. And you were also saying Buddy was from Hatchet. I did not know that. And I've seen Hatchet. I probably just didn't recognize him. Then again, I probably haven't seen Hatchet in like a year, so it's been a little while, for sure. The horror corner is asking, wasn't Brad Dourif in the Rob Zombie movies? He was. He was Sheriff Brackett. Definitely. And Lydia answered that down here below. Russell is saying it was Annie. Yeah. And Katie from Popping the Popcorn has entered the chat. Another one of my mods. What is up, Katie? I hope you're having a good day. Let's see what else we got. Russell Dorsey is saying it was crazy seeing Danielle Harris playing Annie. And, that was something we talked a little bit about on Sunday. When Danielle Harris, when I start to feel, bad for what happened to her in the movie, I just don't feel like there was enough time, really getting into those characters. And I think that I felt bad with her, having what happened to her in both movies, not because of the character Annie, but more so to the fact that it was Danielle Harris. I love Danielle Harris. And to see her like that, I'm like, oh no, but it wasn't based off my attachment to the character, because I didn't feel like there was enough time for character development to make me feel a certain way. It was more my love for Danielle Harris, seeing her go through what she was going through, for sure. James is saying the dream mask was just so awesome. Hair dripping wet, looking like the guard shack after plunging that axe in the buddy's back. He keeps pushing that axe deeper into his back. He does, man. And I always felt bad for Buddy. Buddy's definitely a good character. Like, I liked Buddy. He was, not that he had, a long enough screen time to say that he was, a great character or anything, but you could just tell he was a good dude, and it just made me feel bad for him, for sure. What is up, Buddy?
Oh, where are we at?
I've just finished going through the chat and talking to those guys about some of their comments and where they were.
Our chat's awesome, Michael.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But so here's something else that I just wanted to talk a little bit about. So, Michael, after being shot in the face with the revolver, he goes ahead and wakes up in the back of that the coroner's van there, right? So he's awake. He comes out. He kills the passenger because the driver's face already looks like a smashed
meat hamburger. Yeah.
Like it does look like he took a cleaver to the face, right? And then that's when we get the white horse for the first time. We get the the mom, the horse, and all of that stuff. And at this point, in my opinion, I'm just sitting there like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? She's talking to Michael, and it just felt, without me just saying I hated it, but it just felt so un-Halloween to me. I understand a paranormal aspect of things, and you want to put paranormal into horror. Of course, paranormal's horror, but it just felt out of place for a Halloween movie to me. Like, how were you feeling first time you went through the whole white horse scenario with Sherry Moon and Michael sitting there talking?
I cannot agree more with that. It does not fit. And at this point, I'm starting to do this back and forth. Now I go into, and I believe I always will. I go into every Halloween movie, probably even trying to like it more than I should, just because I do hold it so, near and dear to my heart. Up until the last minute of Resurrection, I was probably trying to find something good in it. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest. So here again, that's what I'm doing, but I cannot deny that I'm starting at this point with the white horse. I'm starting to not be as happy.
and that's definitely a way to look at it.
You know, I'm starting to struggle to find that that piece that where I'm like, this is okay. You know, let's do this. It does not fit a Halloween movie. You're right. So that's where I'm at. I've seen some great I've seen some great, segments, and I've seen some what the F. And then I'll say again though, right after the horse was gone and all that stuff, I was right back into mode like, okay, let's get this back on track. But that's where I was. I was doing this back and forth with myself. And that's just me in general. Like I do try to find the good in things. I'm not the guy who watches something and just nitpick it, and that could be good or bad, but that's how I usually am. So, I'm still holding on to that amazing dream sequence. I liked the crash, the actual crash, him busting out of there. So I'd even say at this point, I'm liking more than I'm disliking. I'll even say that. So, I'm still holding hope, but he's starting to show me some weird signs where I'm not sure where they are going with this movie. So I agree with you there as well. You said at this point, you're wondering, where the hell are they going? In the back of my mind, I'm thinking the same thing. So yeah, man, that's where I'm at. I am still digging more than I'm hating, but the white horse, the transition of Lori is all red flags for me. So
Yeah. Can you walk us through just a little more of Halloween 2? I'm trying to fix something here.
Absolutely. One thing is that, and I didn't know till years later that Rob Zombie did not want to make this film. So I do go back to saying, if someone's forced to make a film, it's going to show. Now, that's not to say Rob Zombie didn't say, hey, hell with it. If I'm forced to do this, I'm going to give it my all, and if I dislike something, I always have a hard time saying, well, that's all right. They tried something different. Okay. Because a lot of people do give him props for trying something different. And I got to give him props for that as well. Because this is definitely a different Halloween movie. But for me, it's always going to be all over the place. It's always going to be all over the place. And really, I can say the same thing about David Gordon Green's Halloween Kills. I can say the same thing. Now, I hold Kills higher than Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Let me make that clear. But it's another Halloween film that has some serious highs and serious lows, guys. So, I don't know how you feel about that, but
Halloween Kills, I'll defend on a hill. Like I'll sit there and defend it. But
Michael, even you can say that it has its lows.
It does.
It does. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not comparing the two. I'm not comparing the two, by any means. I'm just saying that, they can, the best film can have a super low point, and the worst film can have extremely high points, so that's all I'm saying,
Yeah. And I mean, sorry about that. I was looking through, had a little bit of issue with some moderation stuff. Val, I'm going to get with you on Instagram after this so we can figure out why my mods aren't able to do something. If I have to change settings somewhere, let's definitely figure that out after this. Sorry about that. Thanks for filling in there, Matt. I appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Any movies
someone wants to hear me talk.
any any of the movies that you watch, especially with Halloween stuff, it's like a roller coaster ride. You're gonna like what you like, regardless of what happens. Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, in a the big picture wise, to me, it's one of those movies to where I feel like the bad outweighs the good by a lot. I feel like the dialogue is mediocre to bad in most cases with this. I think that a lot of it doesn't make sense to me as far as how Michael can take a revolver to the face and then be shot by the cops a couple times and then he's dead. It's just like, I thought, if you're gonna take a revolver to the face, a shot, right, you're gonna get blasted point blank, and you're gonna get up from that immediately. That tells me, okay, Mike, they're playing Michael as a supernatural person at this point. Because how many people do you know are gonna get up from a revolver to the face? I mean, get shot a couple times.
Michael,
it's like, I get it,
Michael. It's extremely rare, but it does happen. It does happen. It does. So, but yeah, 99% of the time you're going to say if that's what's happening, you're going supernatural with it. But it is something that can happen.
Maybe. I mean, it wasn't a small gun. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like it was a pea shooter. And she was just basically had him in a full mount. I know you know about full mounts, being the UFC fan that you are. With the gun right to his head and just blast him in the face.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. I always go back to I was in the police academy way back in the day at one point in time, and I'll just never forget. They showed us this video of this guy on PCP, and it was a true video, and he ended up having 2 shots to the head, and it was like 5 or 6 in his torso or some shit, where he kept coming at the officers and stuff. It was just like, now this is a 1 in a million, Michael. That's all I'm not saying like everybody survives a shot to the head, but it just, it can happen. And PCP probably helps a little bit, so, but that's a dangerous drug, man.
And I wouldn't put that past, and this is no offense to, anyone, but I wouldn't put that past Rob Zombie to have Michael doing that in his house. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's like there are certain things
in his house.
Michael's sitting there doing drugs so he can get back up.
Oh, you saying Michael doing PCP?
That's what
Michael on PCP, dude, game over.
That's why he's walking so fast.
That's
why he's walking so fast.
Even Loomis would say, just pull back.
That's why he's walking so fast. I'm telling you,
even
100%.
Loomis would say, no.
Let's see. The Shape is saying Michael just killed everyone in the Rabbit Red. I'm sitting here watching Halloween 2 right now as you two speak. That's
in the coveralls. In the coveralls. James?
In the coveralls.
Don't lie to us, James. You got them on.
In the coveralls.
Dude, James has some sick coveralls, man. Sick coveralls.
Russell is saying it was Frankenstein, Myers, and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Poor Danielle Harris. Yeah. James is saying, does anyone have a white horse for sale? James is wanting to win that costume contest like you do not believe. I'm telling you. And Russell Dorsey's telling him to check the horse stable.
One thing with Danielle Harris too, one thing I remember, I wanted her so badly to stop yelling at the poor deputy that is just on her porch because her dad told him to be there, and she ripped him a new one, called him everything but a gentleman.
Hey, and that was 2 years in a row, apparently.
Yeah, and I was just like, come on. Like, I just didn't want to. You remember that, Michael? Like,
I do.
Oh, dude, it was like, damn, girl, let the guy just take.
He doesn't want to be there, right?
No, No. Would you want to be there with that? Like, I was just, man, she was like, man. She's like, what the fuck are you gonna do? Like, okay. Like, I mean,
at the end of the day, she was right. I mean, what was he gonna do?
Yeah, but just damn, man. Like,
he didn't have to take the mental abuse before he got Michael's physical abuse, right?
No. Like,
he didn't need it.
I feel bad for the guy, man.
I feel bad for him and Buddy. Like, I really feel bad for Buddy for some reason. Like, he was just a nice little guy that had coffee. He even gave her the rest of his coffee. You know, it's just like,
what's he making? $11 an hour to,
that,
check out
like
the
seriously,
hospital on night shift.
It was 2009. It could have been less than that.
Yeah,
Buddy.
like, jeez, yeah.
Russell is saying, imagine Michael Myers riding a horse into the sunset. We may see it if James finds that white horse. You don't know. Lydia's saying that's the movie I want to see.
Been on a horse.
That's another good question. Answer that in the chat, James. How long has it been since you've been on a horse? Let's see. I ain't putting half of this on here. It's terrible. You guys are terrible. Oh my god. Let's see. Russell is saying the Lone Ranger sequel, Michael Myers rides into the sunset saying, hi ho, Silver. Hey, I wouldn't put it past that. Now, let me ask you this about Halloween 2, Matt. Like, this is something else that I had a hard time with, and I know that it's really not their fault because people grow up, but to me, I found it really distracting that young Michael was a different kid, and it just didn't even look to me, anywhere near the kid, the kid from the first one that we had here. It's like the only thing they had in common, was the hair color. But to me, it was very distracting for me. Did you have any issues with, them recasting young Michael?
I did. And Michael, I think that comes from, I think I speak for a lot of us on here tonight. That comes from us being true cinematic fans.
Yeah.
So that's just always going to be the case. But yeah, it did bother me. And it's like, you're just like, damn, they always have their reasons. Like, did the kid want too much money? Did they not want to give him what he was worth? Or, what's going on? But, you got, and the kid in the original, as far as I'm concerned, nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. And then the sequel, you've got this kid looking like the singer of Silverchair. And I was just like, what? Like, but I don't know if you guys know that band Silverchair. I loved him, but he looks a lot like that lead singer. And that's just us guys. We love true. Just like when the Myers house goes to a Victorian house. We're not going to have that. Your average fan watching a Halloween movie, whatever. Us guys, a purist, no. You get the house right. You get the same actor. You don't get someone to replace Princess Leia, Michael. You don't get, so... And I'm sure, guys, but I also look in their defense. They know that. They it's not the route they wanted to take,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the kid just got so much older. He looked like he was like 19 at the point, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I get it, but yeah, it sucks.
I mean, it's not like it was 5 years, it was like 2. And I do understand.
Age 2 can do a lot.
It can. It can. But I don't know. He got tall, put Sherry Moon on a stilt or something.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. It sucks. But hell, this goes right with what we're talking about. So I just now started the Chucky season 2.
Mm-hmm.
I started that last night. And the main kid just going from season 1 to 2, I didn't even recognize him at first.
Yeah.
I didn't. So Yeah, when you're talking that age, like you can make drastic changes, man. You can make drastic changes. So.
Yeah, and that is true because you see like Stranger Things. You know what I mean? Like they're
yeah.
They're my age at this point. You know what I mean? And it's just it's freaking crazy.
Yeah,
you are right, but it just felt really distracting to me. Like it was just like, what else are we gonna get?
That didn't bother me that much though, because I feel like that's just what it is, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I had nothing on the white horse, you know. I mean, you know, if you can take the white horse, like okay, they casted a new kid, whatever.
I'll let you go here for a minute. I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick. I will be right back. I'm gonna run to the bathroom.
So now we're gonna go into what segment are we on here?
You pretty much we'll just talk through the movie, man. So at this point, you know, kind of let's talk a little bit about, you know, Lori and Lori and, you know, Brackett and her figuring out that she's a Myers, you know, where she went through that breakdown.
Yeah, man. You go ahead, Michael.
I'll be right back.
So guys, and I do want to hear what you guys have to say about this. And this actually for me goes back to a part of the film that I don't really mind so much. Maybe it's how they executed it. You know, here Brackett is trying to do his best for Lori, right? Hide that she is related to Michael Myers. And she ends up finding out due to our very own Dr. Loomis, his book. So for me, it goes back to what they portray Dr. Loomis as in this film. Like, he's an ass, guys. He's an ass. You know, so I absolutely believe Sheriff Brackett was correct. That this is something that needed to be hidden away from Lori. It absolutely needed to be hidden away from Lori. However, Loomis, and they're just feeding off it on this one. He just wants the money. He wants the fame, yada, yada, yada. So here he is putting all of Lori's right out there. So you can't blame Lori, guys. You can't blame Lori. It's, you know, Michael, I'm talking about how I thought Brackett was right, that the whole thing about the relationship with Michael should have been hidden from her. She was better off. She was better off. And it came down to Loomis's greed.
Yeah.
Which it would have never been that way had they kept Loomis how Loomis should have been. But this Loomis, that's what it came down to. Money hungry, greed, wants a phenomenal book, doesn't care who he, you know, whose life he wrecks. So it's just and the more and more they put Loomis in that light in this film, the further down this film goes for me. Like,
it does, man. And, you know, you get to the point where she's trying to get away. You know, she finds Annie's been, you know, killed really this time. You know, she had to go through the whole thing, seeing Daniel Harris, you know,
and there was some phenomenal acting on that whole scene.
It was. There was. You know, she gets away again. You know, and Michael flips over the car that she's in. You know, like he probably could have easily just walked around and pulled her out of the car. But I mean, it for sake being a movie, she flips over the car and he carries her away to that, you know, little shack or whatever. It was kind of like a little shack out in the middle of nowhere. What the hell would you say that was other than a shack, right?
Shack out.
Yeah.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Right. And so, Brad Dourif's character, Sheriff Brackett, he finds, Annie again and has to relive all of that. And then they find out that Michael's out there, and Michael's in there with Lori, who can now see the white horse and see Sherry Moon and young Michael. Because if you remember, as Loomis heads in there, young Michael's holding Lori back by her arms, and Loomis doesn't see anything, but Lori's sitting there like, he's holding me, I'm stuck. And so she can now see what Michael sees. And to me, at this point, I'm just like, this has gone so far off the rails, from my standpoint, that they're going to do some sort of like, what would you call it? Like they're going to do some sort of like ceremony or whatever to make her one of them, to see, I don't know what they do to her to make it happen. I don't remember if Sherry Moon like chants some stuff or something, but you remember, as Michael's fighting Loomis, once so it depends on which version you watch, because this is where it gets, a little different. The one that I've watched, more than any, other than going to the theater to see the theatrical release, I actually own the director's cut. And I know that the theatrical is just a little different towards the end, but Michael stabs Loomis with that big ass knife, and then the police shoot Michael, but before Michael stabs him, he tells Loomis to die. And then when Michael spoke, I was just like, okay, I'm checked out at this point. Now Michael's yelling die, as he stabs Loomis. The police shoot him. Lori comes out now changed and part of, their team, and she goes for the knife and they shoot her, and kills Lori as well.
Now, is this where when they shoot him, he falls into the spikes?
No, so on the director's cut, he just falls on the ground. Like that, I didn't see any spikes.
Okay.
Were there spikes there? If they were, I wouldn't see them. Was it obvious that there were spikes there? Or did I have to look super hard?
I've actually got the two endings very mixed up.
Okay. Why don't you talk through the ending that you remember, and then I'll talk through the ending that I remember.
Well, that's a hard thing to do because I think I'm getting them mixed up, honestly. I remember them shooting Michael, and he falls on spikes that are protruding through his chest and stomach. And then, just like you said, I remember Lori coming out. They're all screaming, hold your fire, hold your fire. She picks up the knife, and for whatever reason, they fire.
Right.
And the other one I remember is where Michael and Loomis break through they break out of the, shack. And aside from that, I'm not sure if I remember exactly what happens after they do that. So, yeah, I'm sorry, guys, but they're really mixed up for me.
Yeah. Does Michael talk in both versions? I know the version I have, he screams, die.
Oh, God. I don't know, but I do know. We might have to do some research on this, Michael, because, I'm not going to lie and act like I know it all. They're mixed up, they're mixed up in my head. They are, and I do remember him saying "die."
Yeah.
But I'm surprised you don't remember the spikes.
They could have been there, and I just didn't see them, unless they were super obvious, some.
So if you're saying does Lori pretty much die in the end of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2?
Yes.
She dies by gunfire.
Well, no, she doesn't, because she's in the thing at the end, and the horse shows up.
Why?
That's the mom.
is that a dream? Is that, so she
I'm pretty.
survives the gunshots.
I that's the way I perceived it. That she's sitting because she's sitting on the bed and that like. But then again, it's an all white room that's very long, and how much sense does that make too? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
could that be like an afterlife scenario, or is she, in a hospital?
I love the music at the end.
Her vision of it, like it's just like, it's like here we are, and she goes with the horse. So regardless, I'm sorry, Jerry. It's got me laughing right here. Michael Myers' voice sounding like Mike Tyson. It is kind of a confusing ending, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm an expert on Halloween 2 because it's definitely, towards the bottom of my list of Halloween movies, but it is tough now looking back that you said, like, is she dead or is she alive? It's like something I didn't even question. I was just like, oh, it's over. She went with the horse. That is a good question, and let us know in the comments what you guys think. Like, was she dead at the end of Halloween 2? Or do you think that she was just sitting in a very luxurious hospital room where she didn't have a lot of stuff, but it was very big, plenty of room for activities?
Yeah.
Where the horse came up and she kind of walked with them. Or maybe she was walking away to the afterlife. Dude, I don't even know. Like, that's how off the rails this movie, went for me.
You could definitely bowl in the aisleway. For
yeah,
sure.
it was long like that. Like, seriously.
Wow. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
it was definitely not.
Here's one thing I wanted to say, and I almost wanted to rewind a little bit because this can go really quick. I just wonder. There are two killing sequences. One in the Red Rabbit Lounge with the stripper and the asshole owner, whatever he is.
Yeah, Frankenstein.
And there's also the one out in the field with the hillbillies.
Yeah.
And love or hate this movie, guys, I love that sequence. I absolutely love it, man. I guess I bring this up because I hate to bash on a movie without bringing up its strong points because for me that was awesome. These asshole hillbillies beat him to an absolute pulp. He sits up, puts the mask on nice and slow, and just does them in brutally. Like, if I'm on my own on that, like, let me know. But I thought that was very cool.
I just don't see how the scene progressed the movie at all. Like, it just felt like they were just feeding victims to feed victims. Where the Cools were killed, I mean, if the Cools were killed, if the kills were cool, it just didn't progress the movie in any sort of direction for me, other than to just feed violence to Michael. Like, that's like what purpose did that scene serve? Like, who were those people and what relation did they have to that movie? You know what I mean? Like, it just seemed so forceful and out of place and unnecessary to me. Like, I felt like it did the story no service whatsoever. Like, I understand the connection with the Frankenstein, you know what I mean? He was throughout parts of the movie, but these three people, to me, unless I'm mistaken, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but they just show up out of nowhere. Like, oh, let's get a scene in there where we can have Michael kill some people that don't matter whatsoever in this movie. Like, that's how I felt about that. Like, granted, scenes could be cool, or the kills could be cool and everything in the scene, but at the same time, I felt like it did nothing for the movie whatsoever as far as like progression or anything like that.
Well, I don't think anything was going to help this movie at this point. So if you're going to put a cool kill in there, okay. So yeah. No, I'm not sitting there saying it had this huge impact. I enjoyed the scene. Simple as that. But yeah, as a whole, before we started, James, James summed this all up as a train wreck.
Yeah.
And it is a train wreck, guys. I can agree with that. The only thing I'm saying is there are some scenes in there that I don't mind to watch. That's all I'm saying. When I bring this up. So I was hoping for so much more with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, because you all know that his original is one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, of all time. It's up there with The Predator, Christine, movies like that for me. So it was disappointing. It was extremely disappointing.
I mean, it wasn't just that scene. You know, I felt like there was a lot of this in that movie, just things that were just thrown in there, you know, to make time. It's almost like, here's what that feels like. Do you remember Friday the 13th, Part 6, where CJ Graham he kills that couple on that motorbike, and he also kills the old man? Well, those scenes weren't even in the movie. You know, when they showed the movie, the company was like, hey, we need more kills, so they just added those in there. You know, They serve no purpose to the movie whatsoever, other than the fact that they just wanted more deaths. And, you know, and that reminded me a lot of that. So I almost feel like they were like, hey, we ain't got enough Michael stabbing people, so let's have these 3 people come up to him while he's out in the field, out of the middle of nowhere, and just start some shit. Like, it just felt so, like, forced in there. Like, there's just so much about this movie that's just like, well, what are we even doing here? Like, how does this help already?
I mean, but you can argue with slashers that there's a lot of that. You can argue there's a lot of that with slashers, because, you know, they want their kill count up, and but I mean, there's a lot of kills that don't have purpose. If we get into that, you know,
you could look at the original Halloween and say every kill that Michael had a point to it. You know what I mean? It led up to
all the originals. They were all so damn good.
You know, it did. Like, it even if you look at Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, you know, most of those kills had a purpose. Like, I don't really understand why he had to kill Laurie's parents. You know, like, to me, that was just like, why?
That was so badass.
Well, regardless if they're good kills or not, it's just like, well, why? You know, like, look at the original Halloween. Like, you know, Michael gets out. You know, he kills the guy for his coveralls. You know, and that's where Loomis finds the Red Rabbit matchbook. You know, and when he gets into town, you know, Annie's talking shit. So he kills Annie. Then he kills Bob and Linda because they show up at the house. And then he goes after Laurie because she shows up at the house. You know, they all have a purpose moving the movie forward, you know, but like you look at, you know, some of these other ones, and it's just like, that's how you know, the original Halloween is good, because every part of it, you know, for the most part, has a purpose in the movie to move the story forward. You know, it just doesn't feel like we're just going to shoehorn in a whole bunch of shit so, you know, it can look cool, you know, and maybe that's where we're at as society, to where it's like, oh, they're not going to like this because there's not enough blood and guts, or there's not enough of this and that. And, you know, me being a person that likes movies to like movies, and not so much, you know, just to like it for this reason, you know, I just don't feel like it advanced the plot in any way, you know, necessary. And I think that if I were to sum up Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, that's probably what I would say. It's like half of the things in this movie didn't really move the story in any direction one way or another. And that's why this movie was, you know, such a mess. Like, it had some cool parts in it, you know, and that's fine. But if you're not moving a story in a direction, you know, that's when you're going to get a jumbled mess of things that just don't make any sense. And why are we even doing this? Like, what's the point? And that's kind of how I feel, you know, about a lot of stories. They do this stuff, and it's just hard to see why they do what they do. And I don't know. Definitely not one of my favorite movies, for sure.
I think a lot of them look at, like, especially if you're talking a slasher, whether it's Jason or whatever, especially nowadays, they're like, they're going to be thinking, man, these guys, they're coming here, say they make a movie that's 3 hours long. Whether it's a Jason, it's a Texas Chainsaw, and they understand they've went 50 minutes and nothing's happened. They're always going to throw some kind of kill in there. They've done it with all of them.
There's nothing wrong with a good slow burn, as long as the story's progressing and it's interesting. I think
this story wasn't progressing.
No. To my point. Exactly to my point.
It was not progressing, so they gotta do something. And it's just, Rob wasn't on board. It's one of those ones that I think we just gotta chalk up as, I'm ready for the next chapter, man. I'm ready for the next chapter. I know you are too. For Jason, I'm ready for the next chapter.
It's been 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years since Jason's been on the screen.
Out there that, want to say everything we're talking about is ridiculous. It's like, come on, guys, they've killed this guy 100 times, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, but we love him, dude. And just let us do our thing, man. So yeah, man.
But I love slashers, don't get me wrong, but I want a good story to go with it. And that's the thing that, scares me about, a new Jason coming out or a new Halloween coming out. It's like a good story should be first and foremost between anything. Like, that's the thing. Like, with movies, like, I don't want to say, well, I didn't hate it, so therefore I'm okay. Like,
yeah,
come on, guys. Like these icons at this point, they have a lot of fans, and the ones that they like, the ones that are most revered, the ones that, people go back to are the ones that have good stories. If I just want a bunch of mindless killing, like that's I guess one way to do it. I mean, I really don't see how that's going to be successful, but I want a story that I like, that I can be invested in the characters and invested in what's going on and want to see more of it. And
if I can put you at ease, Michael, if they go back to the basics with your boy,
with any of them,
especially your boy, the camp, Pamela. If I were you, I'd be on cloud nine, because I think there's a lot of story left if you have the right people. I do, man, and I hope that for you, man. Stay positive. Because if they go back, to the beginning of, show me Camp Crystal Lake opening, dude, I will have goosebumps, man. Like, show them, putting up that sign at the camps, get ready to open, dude. I think there's tons of story left there. And I'm super excited, and I know you're a bigger fan than I am, but some of them they need to go back instead of going forward.
I think that's the biggest thing on why you want a good director that's a fan of these movies to not just come in and say, oh, I want, a bunch of blood. I want the guy to be vicious, and the story doesn't matter, because the mask is what they came to see, or, as long as he's intimidating, it's like, no, dude, I want a story that I can be like, damn, man, not only was that a good slasher, that was a good movie. Like, I'm invested in what happened there. I'm invested in the characters. I believe the dialogue that they're saying. It sounds realistic to me, what they're talking about. The situation that they're in is a realistic situation, at least, for what it can be, for a movie. I know not everything's going to be, realistic, but
they can do that. They can do that with the Camp Crystal Lake series. They can do that. There's a lot of story, Michael.
Well, the good thing about going back is you don't have, the thing that killed the slasher movie was the cell phone, right? I mean, if you really think about it, the thing that killed all slasher possibilities is a cell phone. Like, hey, Timmy's missing. Well, let's call the cops. You know, like the phone's dead. No, it's not. I have it in my pocket. You know what I mean? Like it's just going back, I think helps, you know, because I think you're going to have to do something super creative, making it now, you know, in a Friday scenario.
Let me put it this way, and you know how I look at things, man. I'm so much like, you know, give me the kill, give me just the guy looking awesome and all that. I feel like there's so much story to be told with Camp Crystal Lake. Mark, I'm being serious, Michael. I would be okay if the entire first season did not have one kill in it. That's coming from me. Like, you do the story right and build it up right, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
That says a lot. That's how much potential I think that this has. You know, for me, it comes down to whoever the hell plays Pamela. You better be a beast.
Yeah.
Because, man. But you can do that, man. You can. Hell, you could have 2 seasons with no kill. I'm not saying don't give me some creepy shit, some things you know, some sketchy stuff, but there's a lot there to do, man. I would almost hate it if they rushed it, to be honest with you. I want to see Jason like excited to go to camp and put his little shirt on with his little name tag. Like, dude, yeah.
With his name tag. Yes. Jason with a name tag. That's freaking awesome.
Dude, it is. But yeah, man, guys, this has been a blast.
It has been. Definitely. Then we've got the Thorn trilogy on Sunday. So I got to brush up on my 4, 5, and 6. Definitely 5. I got to go back and watch that masterpiece one more time.
It ain't so bad.
It ain't so good either. It's definitely a fun one for sure. But yeah, definitely looking forward to Sunday for sure. I've got a busy weekend ahead of me. I'm getting ready to move here soon, so shouldn't miss any shows due to that. Hopefully, I have everything worked out to where that should be fine. But Matt, thanks for coming on an off night for us, man. Usually it's a Sunday ordeal, and we ended up pulling 2.5 hours on a Friday night. But it has a lot to do with the chat too, because you know, hanging out with those guys, man, they definitely brought up some good conversation for sure.
Michael, man, thanks for having me, buddy. If I don't say that enough, I thoroughly enjoy being on here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, man. And let's talk soon because we got a lot going on for the month of October, dude.
100%.
But
100%.
Yeah, man, we'll be back for the Thorn trilogy.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Love you guys.
Russell has put this up. Craving Something Scary, my good buddy Steven, has an interview coming up in 30 minutes with Kevin Ball, the original Creeper. That should be a good one. That should be fun. Is that the same guy that me and you met?
Dude, are you talking about the like Jeepers Creepers Creeper?
Yeah. Is that the same guy we met, Kevin Ball, last year? We were standing there talking to.
I do hear you, Michael. I'm just not 100% sure. I asked Russell to clarify that. I do believe his name was Kevin. I just don't recognize the Ball last name. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I can't say for sure.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But anyway, thanks for joining us on an off night, everyone. Our Friday night stream. That's definitely probably only the second or third time I've ever streamed on this channel on a Friday night. But we did get into Halloween too. Tougher one to get into. I think the Thorn trilogy will be, much easier to go through.
I'll be down to do it again on a Friday. This wasn't bad.
Yeah, hell yeah. 100%. But Matt, I'll talk to you for just a minute backstage. We'll kind of go over October real quick. But for everybody else who joined us, we will definitely be back on Sunday. Again, if you want to support the channel, Lydia, if you could drop that Patreon link one more time for me. If you want to get a hold of Mad Matt, his The Facebook link has been in the chat multiple times tonight, as well as my Instagram. So with that being said, thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you guys
Sunday.